be like typecast is not fun for most actors or actresses, but to be typecast as a gangster, I would take that career.
And one of the wildest, weirdest hairs of all time. They knew about catfishing. Was this happening with like people on dating, whatever that is? Like, were people just sending Fabio's photo? I'm like, yeah, this is me, baby.
He's giving out his mantra: if you can see it, you can be it. If you can see it, you can be it.
See it, be it, see it, be it.
Happened in the 90s.
Rank these Adam Sandler 90s movies. Okay. Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, Waterboy, Wedding Singer, and Big Daddy.
Damn. Okay.
All in the 90s.
I got to go Happy Gilmore. Like, I'm going from top to bottom here.
Okay.
Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison. No, Happy Gilmore, Wedding Singer, Billy Madison, Big Daddy, Waterboy.
Ooh, damn, Waterboy at the 5.
Well, I mean, that's tough though, because even Waterboy is classic.
It's more quotables in my opinion. It's more quotables than
Gatorade.
Hey, Waterboy, yeah.
Dude, when Big Show, when he calls into the wrestling show, that's great. What are you, about 11, 12, kid? I'm 35 years old.
Dude, and it wasn't that Chris Farley's brother interviewing him, Big Show? I think that was like his
I don't know.
brother.
Maybe it was. What's his name? Kevin
Farley.
Yeah.
I want to say. He's got like 3 or 4 brothers.
I mean, Waterboy's classic.
Why is it in the 5 spot?
I mean, that's not really saying much because all those movies are fantastic, Steve.
Okay, so why is Happy Gilmore number 1?
That just movie hit me. That movie's got the quotables. Shooter McGavin's one of the greatest villains of all time. Chubbs. It's just it hit at the right time.
Carl Weathers.
I mean, Adam Sandler was my GOAT for even up against the killers, dude. Even up against Jim Carrey, Will Smith, all them. I was putting Adam Sandler at the top of the heap for a while.
In the 90s, he crushed it, man. Like, my favorite, it had to be Billy Madison. It's between Billy Madison and Waterboy, just off the quotables alone.
Billy Madison has like some of like 5-second moments that are some of the best of all time. When he's just spraying water on the kid on the ground, the kid, like, they're just sitting there high, like
it's got Norm in it, man.
Billy passed the 3rd grade. Oh, what a beautiful day. Pass in the 3rd grade. Yeah, I mean, that movie, and Farley too. His whole
Scott Farley.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Veronica Vaughn.
Grand. Let's go.
Like Waterboy, not Waterboy, but Billy Madison probably has the hottest love interest out of those 5.
Man, Drew Barrymore in Wedding Singer, though, Steve, there's something about just her little prissy look that she's got that she is hot. Drew Barrymore's hot, Steve. She's
cool. I like Christine Taylor better, though. The one who played her cousin.
She's fine, too. Hell yeah.
Ben Stiller would agree.
Yeah. Billy Madison, the teach in that, what is Veronica? Yeah, she's definitely fine.
Pete Sampras would agree.
Damn, Samp Dog got that. Tennis? That's cool, though. You got to give it up to Pete Sampras. He's probably rich. He's very successful, and he just got in and got out, Steve, with some hot ass.
Hell yeah, he's a legend. Just off that alone, man. Like, Wedding Singer has one of the most typecast actors in it, Frank Severo. He's the guy that plays Adam Sandler's brother-in-law. And I feel like he's had a pretty cool career. To be like, typecast is not fun for most actors or actresses, but to be typecast as a gangster, I would take that career.
And one of the wildest, weirdest hairs of all time, Steve. I don't get it, but I get it, and I love it.
Oh, I get it. That guy, Frank Severo, is originally from Italy. So the Italians have a history that they like to sweep under the rug.
Yeah, it was discussed in a rude way in True Romance, I think. But the Moors, Steve,
they don't want to.
They don't want to talk about it. But Frank, whatever his name is, this guy is hilarious, and he's hilarious too. This guy is a great actor.
She does a little sexy dance for me. She even twists my nipples.
What I just say? I guess I said something. Having some kind of a mental issue with something.
And the little kid, Linda, you a bitch.
Is it true you're going to the funny farm? Cuckoo's nest, cuckoo's nest. Yeah, that kid is the little kid. He's the best. What's your top 5 Sandlers? Let's hear the rundown.
If I had to rank Billy Madison.
Nice.
I would have to say close second, Waterboy. Happy Gilmore, Wedding Singer, then Big Daddy. Big Daddy's got some quotes too, though. And
again, these are all great movies. This is saying nothing. This is saying nothing. Sandman in the 90s, he couldn't miss. And I think these are like the romantic comedies I like. Like if you got to throw me a romantic comedy, the ones that he was doing, it's pretty standard stuff, and he even had his little prototype. It was always, he's the fumbling, like kind of doofus guy. He finds a hottie. Same thing in Waterboy. Same thing in Billy Madison. Same thing in Happy Gilmore. It worked. The formula worked, Steve.
Yeah. Same thing in Big Daddy. Like, who was the hot chick in that one?
Joey Lauren Adams, I believe.
Nope. Same chick from Chasing Amy?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
She had her time. And also that movie had Jon Stewart in it back when he was trying to act a little bit. He was like the buddy.
He was his buddy. Yeah.
The kid, the one who impregnated he was the actual dad of Frankenstein.
February 13th, I just found this out yesterday AM, is Black Love Day.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. It's complimentary to Valentine's Day. Black Love Day is meant to focus on self-love, connection, and preservation of culture, particularly in the African American community, rather than romantic love.
Okay.
To our listeners, our watchers, to show some love to your local Black.
My wife's half Black, so I'm just going to take my time, and it'll go right into Valentine's Day, Steve.
Black love, yeah. Show us some Black love.
There you go, little Black love.
And our brother Frank Severo, show him some Black love.
I guess I said something. I don't know what I said.
This is Steve G and Matt G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your hard to kill tapes and your hard target posters, because I won't deny it. I'm a straight rider. You don't want to fuck with me. I got my brother with me, Matthew G, because this has happened in the fucking 90s.
Nice. I thought you were just going to go for like the karaoke, not the fucking full freestyle.
My ambitions as a rider. Today, my friend, we're talking all things February 13th in the 90s. Starting off in 1990, Black Crowes will release their debut album, Shake Your Moneymaker.
Black Crowes, Steve. I missed out. We've discussed this already ad nauseum, but I missed out on the Black Crowes. Still not a Black Crow aficionado, even now in 2025. I'm sorry.
And I don't get it, man. You know who probably does listen to Black Crowes?
I don't know, Steve.
I bet Dan Connor listens to Black Crowes. And don't you want to be like Dan Connor when you grow up? I want to be Black Dan Connors.
I agree. If that's the selling tool, Steve. That's how you get a new Black Crowes fan. Do you want to be like Dan Connor, you motherfucker?
Fuck yeah. Hey, little thing, let me light your candle, cause when my eyes shine, yes, and now, doom. They play that down. I ain't gonna say down, like that hard rock that just like you would hear in a bar, smoky.
Yeah, hell yeah. And you're right. That's some good party music, Steve.
Yeah, or some eclectic chill music, because they got those joints too.
Go to Ralphie's. Play a couple of arcade games. This is playing in the background, Steve. You know what I'm talking about.
Dude, totally. And Chris Robertson, shout out to him, man. He looks like rock and roll Jesus.
I love that. That's the good look, Steve. Jesus, he was the first rock star, if you really think about it, And They're paying homage to the orig, you know?
Is that supposed to be like a dig at Jesus? First rock star?
Hey now, Steve. These are all Christian jokes. This is good Christian fun that we're having on the show. Hey now. Oh, it's a good look, you know, long hair, beard. You look mystical. It's a good rock star look, you know?
Yeah, word to Jim Morrison. 1992, Simpsons is airing season 3, episode 16, Bart the Lover. Bart gets back at his teacher by answering her personal ad as a fictitious lover.
As a kid, Steve, I thought this was hilarious. As an adult, I find this sad in a lot of ways. It made me sad.
Is this another one of those Simpsons did it? Because this episode is basically about catfishing before catfishing was a thing in the 2000s.
I mean, we'll get to it, but this shows you Bart's a great character, right? He's a nice kid every once in a while. He's a little bit devious, but this is straight evil shit at this point. You know, this is more of problem child junior behavior.
In a way, yeah.
More cerebral. But yeah, I mean, this is catfishing before catfishing exists. This is the AOL, you know, this is before AOL Instant Messenger, Steve. This is before the chats.
92, yeah.
Before you were like in junior high, get on to AOL, go into a couple of adult rooms. You know what I'm talking about. Hey, yeah, my job was totally tough today. How are you doing, sweetheart? Talking to another dude. It's the digital equivalent of the Little Rascals, like the kid on the kid's shoulders in a trench coat. You're just like, hello, my good ma'am.
Yeah. I'm 35.
Yeah, work's tough. A lot of files and whatnot. You get it.
Stocks, trades, buy, sell, Dow Jones, NASDAQ.
So, how's your pussy feeling? You're just going crazy. Yeah, so Bart, he's experiencing that. He's doing this when they're sending letters, Steve. You know what I'm saying? That's how old Simpsons is. They're sending fucking snail mail letters.
Yeah.
Love notes. Yeah. It'd be kind of hot though, you know, thinking about it, just like the anticipation. You remember when you used to wait just for like that instant message to come up and it was like 5 minutes, you're like, what's gonna happen? What does she think? Waiting for a mail, like you're the mailman to deliver like a pink note to you. That seems like a long time ago. It wasn't really that long ago.
We were so ASL AF. But we start this episode with Bart. He's in class and they're watching this old timey ass video about this kid who wants to live in a world without zinc.
Yeah, and it's all, who knew so many things had zinc in it, Steve? Oh, well, you think you could do this, Billy? Well, that battery, it's got zinc in it. And it goes all the way. This kid wants to blow his brains out, but can't do that because that firing pin has zinc in it, buddy. That's the hell of a world without zinc. I love this video.
But Billy wakes up and he's relieved that he lives in a world with zinc. He can use his phone. He can shoot bullets.
Yeah. This isn't like a TV that they're watching. This is on like a projector. So Bart, to alleviate some of the tension, he goes up. He does the little shadow. He's picking a nose. Just some classic comedy action. You know what I'm talking about, Steve.
I was that kid.
Of course. I mean, Ace Ventura 2, after I saw that scene and Ace were like, hi-ho, Silva! I had the roadmap to success, you know? Exactly. That's Bart behavior. Right, but then the bell rings and Miss Krabappel's like, "Hey, she's like scrambling, trying to get somebody to acknowledge she exists as just as a person." She's like, "Kids, like, does anybody want to study? Can somebody? I'm by myself."
We get a view into her personal life. You know, as she leaves school, she goes to a Pooh store and she buys some Chef's Lonely Heart soup. She tries her hand at the scratch off. She doesn't win. And on her way home, she sees that she has sugar in her gas tank left by her ex-husband.
Yeah. She gets home. It's just rainy. Her life sucks. She's teaching these shitty kids. She's just thirsty as hell, Steve. She's in a desert dying of thirst. She gets home. She sees a personal ad. It's almost like online dating, but you just like find somebody like from some business. I don't know. It's something weird, but you write in, you meet somebody. And I mean, geez, she's just counting the days till she dies at this point anyway. So why not? Let's throw caution to the wind, you know?
Yeah. She tries her hand at that. And then we cut to school the next day, and Ted Carpenter from the Yo-Yo Company is there with the Twirl King champions. You have Amazing, you got Sparkle, Zero Gravity, and then there's the Cobra.
Yeah, he shoots a yo-yo out of his mouth. I mean, this guy, he's a superstar. They're basically like the American gladiators of yo-yoing, Steve. I mean, this is some talent.
I bet they get all the girls.
They even put like Principal Skinner in like sort of like a death smorgasbord of yo-yoing where they're just shooting him across like his nose. He even takes one like in the ear a little bit.
They
like
are in awe.
Yeah, but these kids are eating it up. We never got this, Steve. You remember back in the day, we had somebody like, I think, but it was just like probably about like abstinence. It was nothing cool like yo-yoing, you know?
So you want to tell me to not fuck when I get hard-ons all the time at this age?
Have you been on the internet? Like, have you seen Cum Fiesta? Because this is happening, and I'm not going to give it up yet. I can't.
Dirty debutantes? They look like they're having a blast.
They've gotten the kids' attention. This is great. But it seems like maybe the business Twirl King is a little sus because as like we see the guy like putting the talent just like in the back of a van, like very abusive almost.
Very Joe Jackson. But the kid, it left an impression on the kids because everybody wants to be a yo-yo king now.
Oh my God. Like yo-yoing. I did actually get into yo-yoing a little bit as a kid. Like I think like 6th grade. I don't know what this happened around that time, like whatever that was, like 95-ish. Yeah. There was a yo-yo craze. What year is this?
This is 92.
Okay, so maybe again, Simpsons did it. Even in our lives, they did it. But everybody's yo-yoing now. We cut everyone in the school who can afford to is yo-yoing, killing it. Bart, very good at it. I mean, it's hard. It's a skill, Steve. At one point, I don't know if, like where we're at, but I remember Homer's watching Bart at some point yo-yoing, and he's like, "This kid, it's not like Marge and him are having coffee or something." And there, he's like, "It's only a matter of time before I can retire because this kid's he's a dynamo. Look at him."
Yeah,
he went around the world 3 times, just continuous. And Marge is like, I don't know. Name one person who got famous yo-yoing. So now Homer goes through like the list, like Donald Trump. No. Arnold Palmer. No. Bill Cosby. I don't remember. But I will say, Steve, I thought about this. Maybe you can think of a famous yo-yo person, but I know one. And this might be so old that it's just beyond both of us a little bit. Do you remember the Smothers Brothers?
Fuck yeah, I do.
The Yo-Yo Man. There was a Yo-Yo Man in that. One of the Smothers Brothers was hella good at yo-yoing. And that was a segment on the show.
I didn't know that. I just remember them playing like the banjo or like the ukulele or some shit.
Maybe it's called Yo-Yo King. Just shout out anybody watching this. I know nobody is, but anybody who might be, or just me and Steve, check it out. Look it up on YouTube. Smothers Brothers Yo-Yo. And I'm sure you're going to get something. This guy, he was a dynamo, Steve. He might have been the Twirl King that they were referring to. Or like, that's where they got the idea from.
Shout out to the Smothers Brothers. Back in class, as Bart is performing his pluck the pickle routine on the yo-yo, he accidentally kills the class fish.
I mean, that happens, Steve. You got to break a couple eggs to get good at yo-yoing. He tucks the pickle or plucks the pickle a little too hard, cracks the fish tank, kills the fish. So Edna's pissed. Willie, the custodian, they're going to a better place, lass. And then he just goes in and flushes them down the toilet, which I loved. But Bart, he gets a month of detention. And Edna, that's tough. She takes the yo-yo and throws it in the fun drawer,
And Bart asks if he can have it back. Like, man, I'm sorry about your fish, man. That's a process of life, whatever. But can I have my yo-yo back? And Edna asks, like, if you were me, would you give the yo-yo back? So he has a dream of him being big and her being 2 inches tall, and he's just like fucking with her.
Nope. Yeah.
Then he pops out of it like, no, absolutely, I would.
But this is Bart being Bart, Steve. He's just having a good time. And I mean, it's constructive. This guy's learning a skill. He could be on the Smothers Brothers, for God's sake, you know?
Arsenio, the whole nine. And, you know, we cut to Edna's first date, and it's with Abe's, one of his homeboys. I can't remember his name, but he's like the other old guy in Springfield.
The guy that's like half beard. His face is just half beard, you know?
And he catfished her. I guess he gave her like an old picture from like the 50s or something. He's like, yeah, just because there's a little snow on the roof, it's still me.
I mean, he looks like he's a pimp back in the day. He had like on like a whole jumpsuit and shit. So that guy getting it. Edna, I mean, give him some day. You're thirsty. Why not? You know, maybe we'll get into the will. Yeah, but that photo, again, they knew about catfishing. Was this happening with like people on dating, whatever that is? Like, were people just sending Fabio's photo? I'm like, yeah, this is me, baby. Yeah, it doesn't go well. So now we're in detention again. Bart's hanging out. I think he actually is doing some stuff because he's doing some plumbing for Mrs. Krabappel. Pulls some kind of doll head out of the pipes, but she goes out to like have a smoke or something, gets out of the room, and while he's alone, he does a little snooping, and he finds that ad, and he also finds like these letters, so he realizes what this is, and he's like, oh, I think I got something to do. And this is insane, Steve. Talking back to teachers, yes, of course. You saw me do it. You saw me at the height of my power.
Cookies are nasty as shit.
But this is another level, Steve. I mean, this is devious. This is mail fraud, to be honest with you. There's some crime, I feel like.
Because he sees her P.O. box, so he's like, oh, I already got the master plan. So he conjures up this plan to create this character, and he's trying to think of a name. He looks up at the president, is like, oh, Woodrow. Okay, so I'm going to be Woodrow. And I like holding hands, dinner by candlelight. And yes, I hate yo-yos.
And I mean, he knows what she wants, which is weird. But I mean, he puts it all in there. I love the usual suspecting where he's just like, what do I need information to put in this? He's like, yeah, Woodrow, fuck it. That's good. We see her reading this letter from this mysterious man named Woodrow who seems perfect. And she's smitten, Steve.
Eating it all up.
She's getting a little antsy in the pantsy, if you know what I'm talking about. But then we cut over to The Simpsons, and Homer and Marge are having coffee. And Marge is looking outside, and she's like, you know, it's cold outside. I think we need to get Santa's little helper like a doghouse, or like you do something. We need to let him inside. And Homer's like, nah, you're crazy. Buy him a doghouse? That's just more propaganda from Big Doghouse. I'll go ahead and I'll make this dog a new house. It's cool. But I mean, the dog's suffering, Steve.
He draws up a blueprint for the doghouse. He was like, look, here's the doghouse, and this right here is the beautiful sun. Like he created that shit.
I mean, that's art, Steve. I mean, and it's pretty solid. I mean, structurally, it looks like what you want a doghouse to be. You know, it was just a quick sketch up. But he's taken it upon himself to do that. Bart comes in at like in the middle of this discussion, goes through the mail, and he sees something for a Mr. Woodrow Wilson or whatever, and he's like, "Yep, gotta go upstairs because this is crazy." And this is like, again, Steve, this is exciting. This would have my heart racing. Honestly, I'd be like, "Am I gonna get arrested?"
There's a couple teachers I actually wouldn't mind doing this to because fuck them.
Yeah. That would be funny. I could think of a couple, seriously. I don't want to say any names because I actually, now that you've said that, I might do it. But
John Henline.
Yeah. Mrs. Wooler. She can get that. But he goes upstairs, starts reading this thing, Steve. And Miss Krabappel's she's getting a little sultry. She's saying she likes what she's hearing. But she's, you know, I need to hear more. I want to know more. But while I'm waiting for that, let me leave you with a little this. She sent her Polaroid, Steve. I mean, I'm in.
Pretty racy picture. And some negligee. Yeah.
Are you going at it, Steve? Are you going to Mrs. Krabappel? You received that?
As an adult? Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, no, if you're 10, like, you're like, oh, shit.
Hey,
yo,
I'm not gonna lie. Miss Crabapple was sexy.
No, dude, and also she's got that sultry, like she smokes too. So you're gonna like wrap it up, and then she's gonna be like light a cig for you afterwards. That's hot. You know what I'm saying?
Bart's got different plans though.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, you got a date with the Xerox machine.
I wonder what you would do with that, Steve. As a kid, are you guys gonna Xerox that photo and like give it to kids at the school? Because that's crazy.
If it's a teacher I hate, fuck yeah.
Yeah. She's going to put those pieces together pretty quick, though. I feel like that's going to lead to your demise. But I get that feeling because I would have done that as a like younger dude. Like, oh, this is fuck this. And you're not thinking right. You're like, you don't think of the consequences. But yeah, poor Miss Krabappel at this point, Steve. She's fully in. She's catfished.
And we cut to the Flanders house and they're having dinner. And the wife, I can't remember her name. Maud Flanders, she's passing out the meal, whatever, and she asked Todd if he wants some mixed vegetables. He's like, hell no. Like, what did you say, Todd? I don't want any damn vegetables.
Todd, and it turns out, Steve, Todd heard all this cussing from Homer because he's been cursing in the backyard, doing his best to build a doghouse. It's just not going well. It's like when I try to put together IKEA furniture. And you get to that step where you're like, we did it all wrong. And then you just have to flip out, you know.
There's that one step that's not clear.
Yeah. Yeah. But Todd, he said, hell no. He also says, I don't want no damn vegetables. And like now Ned's like, we got to figure out where this is coming from. You know, we got to nip this in the butt. Where did he figure this out?
So Ned calls the Reverend, and the Reverend tells him like they usually pick these things up from someplace, so you have to track that down. So Ned has a checklist of all these possibilities, and there's like television, his brother. It's like, I think in one scene, Todd's watching Gomer Pyle. He's like, oh no, can't be that.
Yeah, and he's on the hunt. Todd's a sweet kid, so he's like going through it, and right now he doesn't know where it's coming from. Cut back to The Simpsons. Now Bart's in the midst, he's running out of material, you know. So he starts asking around with Lisa, but she's kind of like, oh, what do you want to know this about? So she starts asking too many questions. So he leaves. And he goes down to Marge and he's like, so do you have any like dad's old love letters he wrote? Anything like from back in the day? Because I don't know. I just wanted to look at them. She's like, well, he didn't really leave a lot of love notes, but I do have one thing, and it's like a postcard from when he went to like the brewery. Steve. Yeah. And like when she reads it, the reading of it is one like comes from Homer's voice, and it is one of the.
It's not legible at all.
Yeah, I wrote it down, so basically, I'll try to read it like Homer did it. Dear Marge. Maybe it's the beer talking, but you got a butt that just won't quit. They got these big chewy pretzels here that are $5? Get out of here. And that's all it is, Steve. But there's some shit in there. You know, there's some gold in there. But Bart's he needs a muse, you know? He doesn't have a crush on Edna, so he's got to figure out this love language of an adult. So Woodrow can continue this just love sesh that he's got going on with Edna right now, you know?
And the next day in detention, Edna actually opens up to Bart. She says she needs a man. She wants a man that can fix her car from time to time, open up that pickle jar, you know, open up that Pepsi bottle.
I just need a man, Bart. I mean, God. Think of this, Steve. As bad of a kid that I was, I mean, Bart's like basically playing a bartender at this point. He's like rubbing a glass while he's asking her these questions. But this is giving him the ammunition he needs.
Really, yeah, she's feeding into the devil.
I mean, basically what she says comes out on paper in the most Rico Suave of ways, Steve. Woodrow's promising all these things that she's saying out loud she wants. It's almost like it's meant to be.
Bart actually uses some of that ammunition from Homer's love letter because he says in one line, "You've got a butt that won't quit." You see Edna in the bathtub, and she's like, "Oh yeah."
I mean, she has that little removable nozzle handle, Steve. She's going to town, thinking about Woodrow in that tub. We cut to Flanders because he's still thinking about what's causing his kid to say all these devilish words. You know, the checklist, he's gone down it. It's not TV. It's not his brother. He's like, what else could it be? Like, she's a saint. And then he hears Homer in the back. And he's
damn
like,
crappy nails.
Yeah.
Blew my butt.
He goes out. It's like, hey, Homer, just real quick, gonna have to ask you not to cuss because it's, you know, it's causing this issue in my house. And Homer's like, oh, please, Ned. You never do anything that I ask. And he's like, well, what have you asked? He's like, it's just that stupid mustache you have. Everybody's talking about it. Just thinking you hide stuff. He's like, well, I'll tell you what. You stop cursing, I'll cut this mustache off. We got a deal. And Homer actually is cool with that. For he's, you know, make a little fool out of Ned. What's he look like with a mustache? That's interesting.
And then later that day, Homer's in bed with Marge. He's like, stupid Flanders thinks I swear too much. Well, maybe he's right. Can we have a conversation without talking about your hero, Ned Flanders? You brought him up, Homer.
And Marge brings up, well, you know, here's an idea. Maybe a swear jar. You know, every time you swear, you throw a little money in the pot. And that's, you know, Homer's like, oh, I'm a man of change. I'm a man who likes to better myself. You know this. Everyone knows this. I'm Homer Simpson. So, yeah, let's do that. He lays down, but then the wheels start turning. He's like, no, what if I stub my toe? Like, I can curse then. She's like, no. What if, I don't know, what if this or that? And she's like, no, you can't curse, homie. He's like, well, what if we're snuggling?
Well,
Now
that's different.
Yeah, exactly. So that's still on the table. So now Homer's got a swear jar. I've never attempted this, but I feel like if I was honest, I'd get into the same sitch. I mean, this thing would fill up. I would have that might be how I actually make money to like buy a house, Steve. But that night, Bart's reading a letter from Edna, and now this is where it happens, Steve. This is where the online situation got to too. It always leads to this like little part in the road where she wants to meet up.
Let's get face to face.
That doesn't faze Bart. This is actually in his sick mind what he wants. He's like, oh, well, time to fucking end this thing. Let's really sink that hook in so we can really, you know, dig that knife in. So he writes her a letter and arranges all this.
And they arranged to have a meeting at the restaurant. So Bart, he's on his way to the movies to see Ernest Needs a Kidney. And like just right next door to the restaurant, he sees Edna by herself and he laughs like cut to him coming out of the movie. He walks out and she's still sitting there looking sad and she's actually crying by herself. And this is one of the few early moments of showing Bart having depth. He actually cares. He's like, damn, I did something really bad. Now I feel like I have to rectify this.
I like he's also like, God, I just can't help but feel responsible for all this. It's like, yeah, you did it. You know, this woman's dead now. She's literally crying in front of a candle that's completely burned down it just melted. But he's got a heart, Steve, so he's going to make this right. We cut to Homer, and he's just having a lot of trouble with swearing. You know, the jar's filling up. At this point, fuck a six-pack, Steve. He could buy a keg with the amount of money he's throwing in this thing, you know?
Yeah, he thought he gave the church person, the deacon or whatever, he thought he gave him a dollar, but it was $20. So he cusses at the church. And then he makes a snafu at the bowling alley. He cusses at the bowling alley. And then back home, he finds out that Ned shaved his mustache. And he's in good fortune because he immediately got casted for a commercial with his new look. He's like, oh, fucking Ned up. Some more change into the swear jar. And then he cusses about the doghouse because it's just fumbling. And he stubs his toe and he's trying really hard. Then there's a bee's nest that falls on top of him. So there's more coins in the swear jar.
I mean, a bee's nest, though? I feel like you got to give me a pass on that. What am I supposed to do? Jeez, crow.
Oh, darn.
Yeah. At school, Bart's, you know, he's seeing the aftermath of this little prank he's played because Edna, she's dead inside, Steve. Is this where she's like, well, I realize that you're the only man in my life and it makes me so sad or something, just starts crying at her desk.
And he recommends different guys from the school. He's like, well, about Principal Skinner, Seymour, his mommy won't let him come out and play. Well, what about the coach? Oh, well,
Willie.
What about Willie? Yeah, you don't even want to know about that one.
Dick like a Coke can, Bart. I can't get split open. It's something weird. Cut back to Homer, Steve, and this is one of the funniest parts of this because this swear jar thing, it's still going on. He's doing his best. He has two moments here that are some of the funniest not cursing moments where he like hits his hand with a hammer and he's like, "Oh fudge, that's broken." And then he steps on it and he goes, "Fiddly dee." That'll require a tetanus shot. Yeah. He's doing his best, Steve, but he does all that and then he just kills the dog. He's like, "God damn it!" Kills the doghouse. But Marge and Lisa are like, they come and they have like a new doghouse in a wagon. He's like, "Where'd that come from?" And they're like, "Well, there was more than enough money in the swear jar to pay for this." And he's like, "Well, okay." And then they're like, "There's a present in there for you." And I mean, this is a really good lady, Steve. Marge is a good wife. She had a 6-pack in the doghouse,
along with Maggie.
I mean, Maggie's in there too. Possibly had one of the beers, but she's Homer's daughter, so you got to expect that.
So now with Bart feeling guilty, he fesses up to his parents and tells them about what's been going on with Mrs. Crabapple. And he shows Homer the picture. He's like, "Oh, I should have been going to more of those parent meetings."
Hey, what picture?
Yeah.
Homie. Yeah, but I mean, this is a real honesty session because I wouldn't do this. Tell your parents about doing this fucking awful thing.
Like, help me lie, parents.
Yeah. He tells them everything and they're like, "Well, we got to figure this out." So now they're going to write a letter to basically end it with Edna, but they're not just like rudely like, "Hey, this is over with." Marge is like, "This woman's going to be crushed. This has to be done with a little finesse." And Homer's like, "Okay, I got this. Dear baby, welcome to Dumptown, population U." Okay. And that's not going to do it. So now Lisa and Marge and everybody, it's like a team effort. They're just trying to make this, I mean, just a romance novels level, like love note to Edna, where it's just like very romantic, but saying goodbye, in a classy way, Steve.
And Bart slips the letter under her door. And by the time she opens the door, he's already gone. And
wait. This motherfucker's an Olympic sprinter too, Steve. It didn't take that long to get to that note. You know what I'm saying?
Didn't he basically tell her he skipped town or something?
I mean, it was just basically like, "I have to go, but this is the greatest romance of my life, but we never see each other. We're doomed." It's like Romeo and Juliet. But that's enough, Steve. That's what Edna needed, And she's like, "Woodrow." I do like, and we didn't mention this, at some point Bart has to provide a photo of what Woodrow looks like. That's what Edna requests. So instead of like, whatever, Bart doesn't just find some schmo. He finds Gordie Howe, Red Wings legend, Mr. Hockey himself, Mr. Hockey Town or Mr. Hockey. She thinks she's about to fucking Gordie Howe, Steve.
Apparently she never watched sports.
Yeah, I mean, Edna, not a sports fan, but she's definitely a Gordie Howe fan. So if they ever cross paths, I mean, she's immediately going to drop some peas. You know what I'm saying? She's getting on them things. But Bart lets her down. She gets this note. She feels at least a little, not like a piece of shit. And the next day we see Edna and she's cheered up, Steve. She even lets Bart have a little reset or detention outside because they're best friends now,
And Bart says it's a date. And we end the episode off with a Gordie Howe card showing off his career stats. Fun fact about Gordie Howe, he actually passed away in Sylvania, Ohio.
I mean, the dude was a ledge, I forget what his claim to fame was. He had some record that I can't remember off the top of my head.
Not a few.
Yeah, but, also, I guess for Edna Krabappel, just Jack worthy as well. She likes thumbing through a little Gordie Howe on the 1s and 2s, if you know what I'm talking about.
Like, yeah, bitch, I hate yo-yos too.
Yeah, evil, dude. Bart, evil genius with just a little heart. Right when he takes it to where she's about to kill herself, he pulls it back.
Also in 1992, Wings is airing season 3, episode 16, Planes, Trains, and Visiting Cranes. Dr. Frasier Crane brings his traveling psychiatric seminar to Nantucket.
You can't miss, Steve. Frasier Crane cameo.
Yeah,
This is
man was
it.
all over the 90s.
Hell yeah. I mean, this is a great reason to watch Wings, because otherwise, I mean, I think we can both agree it's all right. You know, it's all
I thought
right.
it was one of your favorite shows ever. You liked it
all
better than
right.
Roseanne.
I do like it better than Roseanne.
That's insane.
You just love Roseanne. It's okay, Steve. It's okay.
I wasn't the only one. It was the #1 show in America for years.
It was. I had to watch it, and that's probably why I don't like it as much, because I was forced to watch it. I didn't get to find it and love it just like you did. You
It's
know, what I'm
relatable.
saying? I guess. I mean, you're right, but it's just not my thing. It's not relatable to me. You know what I'm saying? It's
But
not
Wings
my
is?
thing. Yes, yes.
You don't know
Living in
anybody that's
Nantucket.
ever worked at an airport.
I do actually. Well, security. I don't know if that counts. Anyway, stop calling me on my opinions, Steve. I can't remember 1 week to the next what shows I've said I liked.
Cheers, buddy.
But I do like this. This was nice. This didn't happen a lot, like people crossing over into other shows. I mean, it did, but it was a big thing, especially for Wings. Getting a fucking ledge like Kelsey Grammer on there, that's nice.
And Cheers was still on at this time too in 92. We start the episode off with Frasier actually. He's talking to Joe, the pilot, and Lilith is right behind per usual, and they're flying to Nantucket. But Frasier's nervous. He's not a fan of flying.
I mean, this is a small plane. He's like, I'm used to first class and champagne. This is like a puddle jumper. Just like chill out, you know. And honestly, like, if you're that hung up about being in a plane and heights, you might need to talk to a psychiatrist, because he doesn't know who he's talking to, Steve.
Yeah.
Watch your mouth, Joe.
And Lilith tells him, like, yeah, Flyboy here, he's actually a psychiatrist.
Oh, but yeah, so Frasier, he's there. He's going to do a seminar in Nantucket. This is something we find out Frasier does. He's out here schlocking psychiatry like a Dr. Phil, you know. He's out here trying to give a little advice. So he's coming to Nantucket. While Lilith says she doesn't respect what he's doing and charging people for psychiatry like in this way, Frasier's like, I mean, it's a small $350 or $50, whatever I'm charging, small price to pay for a fucking glimpse of genius like I'm providing to these idiots.
And a home video from 1995.
Why not? Maybe a t-shirt, Steve. Maybe a little Frasier Crane seminar t-shirt. I'd love that. Give me one of those for Christmas.
You see it, you can be it.
Then we cut to the airport. Little Nantucket airport. So cute, Steve. But Brian, the other brother, the problematic brother, if you will, he comes in and there's a fight that's about to happen, a big boxing match. He's got the lockdown on a big ass TV, 42 inches, all 40. Like, that's nothing now, Steve. But 42 inches back in whatever, 93,
92.
might as well be a fucking movie screen.
Like Master P, he's got the hookup.
He's got it. And I mean, this was the thing, man. The fights, pay-per-views, he's got it. I mean, he's got this down. I don't know who's going to show up other than Tony, you know, the regs. But
Lowell.
yeah, Lowell. Lowell actually is playing an integral part because he had to like splice some cable somehow.
Yeah.
Maybe a legal cable hookup, which I also love.
That was a thing.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, I never got into that, but I always wanted that, you know, whatever that was.
It was the splicing the cables or the black box. If you knew somebody with the black box, they're your BFF.
Yeah, but that one was problematic because didn't they like do something to the signal where you had to like get it redone a bunch of times?
I was only there for a good time, not a long time. So I wouldn't know.
Okay. Well, and so they got it all set up. Everybody's in. Faye, who is like the old, like fun, like curmudgeon-y lady that works there. She's cool, but she seems to know a shitload about boxing. You know, it's like somebody is like gonna hustle you. Where she's like seems like a sweet lady, but then she's like got a hell of a left hook.
Yeah.
What the fuck, bitch?
She goes back to the days when they were calling them pugilists.
Yeah, hell yeah. She's like, I remember this.
Yeah.
I think she says that she was married to a guy who was like a corner man or something. So she's got the inside thing. You don't want to do a bet with Faye. Let's put it like that, Steve. Frasier and Lilith get there with Joe. Their plane lands. And my question is, it appears that Frasier has flown all these people, or at least they're flying to see him.
Yeah.
Because he like gives a speech to everyone that gets off the plane. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how much were these tickets, Steve? You got to get a plane ticket to Nantucket to see this guy? F this.
Hey, man, this is world-renowned Frasier Crane. So
I guess.
You're going to pay that $350 and you're gonna pay that
I love it. You want to see Frasier Crane, you got to pay that $350.
$350. I ain't paying you the $350.
Don't let him in. Don't let Frasier Crane in. Yeah, when we give him $350.
Married to that succubus.
Yeah, dude. He's brought all these loonies here. He's got his little thing. But when he arrives, Steve, Helen, who's the little hottie that works here, the little hot, the trot, I think she's Joe's former love. She comes out and is like, oh, hell no.
This
is that
guy?
Frasier Crane's voice?
Fuck.
Fraud. I went to your seminar in New York. You talked me into this shit. I want my money back.
You ruined my life. I took the Crane train straight to hell.
Hell. Yeah, but Helen's not a fan. And this ain't great publicity for him in general because he's got a bunch of sycophants and fans hanging out. You don't want them to hear this shit about you ruined my life.
He doesn't even remember her.
Yeah, he's like, I've ruined a lot of lives. What are you talking about? Yeah. Which one? What city? But she says, I want my money back. And she's insistent on this, Steve. She's like, seriously, this isn't a joke. You're not getting out of this airport with your luggage or life till I get that $350.
And I don't know if it was Lilith or one of the people from the crew that suggests maybe you should invite her to the seminar. You owe that at least to her.
I think it was Lilith. And she's like, well, maybe if you turn her opinion around, that's going to lend more credibility to this bullshit psychobabble that you're trying to pull off here. Maybe it won't be as much of a con job. So he says that. Helen's still iffy on it. But Frasier's like, okay, look, come over here out of earshot of all these lunatics. Look, you come, you feel like you didn't get what you wanted out of it. I'm going to give you half of your money back. She's like, no, I want all of it back. He's like, look, I'm going to give you half. Okay. And you're lucky to get that much. She finally agrees, but she's like, look, you might as well just give me this money because there ain't anything that's going to come out of your mouth that's going to be worth that much money. My life was ruined.
Yeah. Thanks to you.
But that's scary, Steve. You're a psychologist, and then you got people running up to you going, you ruined my life. I'm like, oh, God.
Calling me out in front of other potential, clients, man. And then we cut to the fight, and Brian, he's got the big screen set up, and everybody's, huddled around, but they can't see the fight clearly. So they asked Brian to move the TV up a little bit. He's got a dolly, up under the TV. So he pushes it. As he does that, it unhooks. He unplugs the TV.
And it's right in the intro. I mean, they're touching gloves, Steve. So everyone's like, come on, dude. What are you doing? And he's got this TV, Steve. And one thing we kind of glossed over, the con was, this is simple. This is just easy money here, Steve. He buys the TV with the plan to return the TV.
The next day.
Yeah, it's like, that's the move. That's the hustle. But so he's being light in the loafers trying to get this thing around on this little dolly. He pushes it back. He plugs the TV back in, and in this Mike Tyson McNeely. It was one punch. It was a knockout. And everyone's like, what the? Come on.
It's funny.
Disappointed.
It's funny you use that as an example because I actually watched that fight through the black box. We had a homeboy who had that black box hookup. And
that's it, God. Steve. That's the famous one. I remember that was one thing where people were pissed off where they were like, I paid $100 for this. I can't do this. I need something, you know?
Because that was his first fight back and we just wanted to see Mike,
Yeah.
It was that wasn't enough, Mike. Get him back in the ring.
Yeah. Stand him up. Just let him do some work on a dead body. Okay. But so they're like, well, fuck this, dude. Unplug this bullshit. Get this TV out of here. I'm sick of this. he unplugs it, and then somebody, as he's like moving it away to like take it back to the store, I think Tony Shalhoub's like, wait, isn't there like replays?
He's a replay.
And he's like, oh shit. And then he tries to like move it again to get it plugged in. And somehow this dolly just like goes into overdrive and crashes into a crane. And basically the screen gets like impaled by like a forklift.
Yeah. You break it, you buy.
Yeah. I mean, he bought it at this point. There's no, and even Lowell's like, I'm pretty good and handy, but this is a lost cause at this point, bud.
Yeah, you know the rest.
Joe's actually watching this, and then he's like, well, if this fight isn't going to happen, I'm going to go watch Helen beat the shit out of that dude that we brought into the island, this Crane guy.
Yeah, he looks like he bleeds easy.
Yeah, so now everyone's going there to take some action. I would too, honestly. Helen was kind of going crazy. She might stab a dude.
She's standing on business. And we're at the seminar now, and Frasier's got this engineer cap with his train whistle, and he's giving out his mantra: if you can see it, you can be it. If you can see it, you can be it.
See it, be it, see it, be it. It's a very like low class fucking shit for Frasier Crane, Steve.
It's Nantucket.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Just phone it in. But Helen's not convinced. And she's like just throwing the ultimate shade during this presentation. He's trying his best. He's got the whole get up on it. Every time he makes a point, she's like huffing and puffing and stuff. And I get it. This ain't a great presentation. So if this is what you watched and it made you like throw your life into a tizzy, shame on you. Yeah. Because you're just easy to get, you know?
And Frasier's like, you're just not picking up what I'm putting down. Look, put down what you want. I want my damn money back.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, the money's not coming back, okay? Because if I give you the money, all these fucking people all these rubes are going to want their money back. So, okay, run me through it. Get up on stage. We're going to do a little psychology session here. And he makes her run through what the events of this demise that she was talking about. So basically, she's like, I heard your advice. Moved to New York to pursue music. Ended up broke as fuck. I had to move back here. I'm a waitress. That's it. You know, and he's like, well, I didn't tell you to do any of those things. So let's dig deeper. She's like, well, I just broken up with Joe, and he's like, "Oh, okay, breakup.
Okay, you broke
Bingo.
up with man. Yeah.
Well, that seems to me that it's not my fault. Seems like it's all Joe's fault. Well, then Joe's in the audience, and he's like, "Hey, hold up a second here. I don't like that. That's not my fault. Helen, you're not gonna blame me for this shit. I just done all this. I was fighting with my brother, this, that, and the other." And he's like, "Wait a second, brother. Let's get into that." So he just keeps running this scam. Brian comes out. He's like, I'm sorry. I couldn't live up to Mother Teresa's approval, Mr. the Pope. He's so good and all this and that. And they get into it. 3 people just having a knockdown, drag out emotional fight on stage. Frasier's really just sitting back and just like listening to this at this point with everybody else. And they keep telling him to shut up. Other people like, and it gets to a point where he's like, "Hey, you're crazy!" Like Frasier just loses it, Steve. Also, I don't know if we said this, but he's taping this, to sell in the future. So this isn't. I mean, maybe this is something that's going to be like sellable, but he's not feeling it, Steve.
Meanwhile, Lilith's over there writing an article about how psychobabble could ruin a man's career. I don't see how she's not hot to you, man. She is. Oh, man.
There's nothing there, Steve. I mean, there's an attitude there, but she's got nothing that I look for in terms of like the physicality. She's got a very sexy voice, I will say that, but I'm more of a curvy guy. I like her curves, and she's a flat. She's just a 2x4, Steve.
She's flat, but she makes up for it in personality.
I mean, she's pent up, Steve. I feel like you'd get out of it. It'd be like in Don't Be a Menace. And she just gets crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I get a little crazy. Yeah. That's what's going to happen, Steve. And then you're going to be screaming.
Please.
You're going to be high-pitched screaming. You're going to come out. You're going to be all fucked up. But I get it.
Drain me, Lilith. Drain me.
But Frasier stops this, you know. And eventually the fight stop, the seminar stops, and he's like, look, you know what? This is fucked up. So you guys can all have your money back. If anybody's here, I'm just going to refund you because this is basically bum fights. I can't charge you for this. Helen's like, you know what though? This was great. I exercised some demons here. I did some good work. So thank you. Appreciate it.
You're actually good at your job. That means so much to me.
So they're out. Frasier's just sitting there. Lilith's giving him shit. Frasier's like, you know what, though? I actually think I thought of a better slogan than this train bullshit. And basically his new slogan is just like, it's somebody else's fault.
It's the other guy's fault.
Yeah, it's that guy's fault. And, you know, this is going to take him places, Steve. This is going to get him to Seattle, you know?
Put that in the shirt.
Exactly.
And Joe, Brian, and Helen, they eventually make up, you know, and all is well in Nantucket now.
Yeah. It's a small community, Steve. You can't have grudges, you know?
But there's an actual fight because Antonio or Lowell come in. He's like, hey, the wife, she's over there beating the shit out of the doctor. It's like $5 on Morticia. She's scrawny, but she's quick.
Yeah. Because throughout this episode, they left their son in Boston, and he keeps talking about some busty nanny that they have named Gunta or something. So by the end, I think he's like, let's get home to Gunta, and that's what caused the ruckus, Steve.
Yeah, she beat the shit out of him with his train whistle. Then 1994, the 44th NBA All-Star Game is held at the Target Center, where the Timberwolves lose. East beat the West 127-118. The MVP is Scottie Pippins.
Missed a second.
Yeah, and you know, Pro Bowl I hardly ever cared about in my lifetime. Same thing with MLB All-Star games, but there was a time when I actually cared about NBA All-Star Weekend, and in the 90s I was involved. I was into it, man. This was the first year without Jordan, so Scottie had a lot of proving. Yeah, he had to prove to a lot of people like, hey, I'm not in the shadows anymore. I can lead a team. And the Bulls actually did well that year, man. This was a all-star year for BJ Armstrong, an all-star year for Horace Grant. And, you know, Scottie, he would get the MVP. So, like, this was his first coming out party of, like, trying to come up under the wing. But eventually Jordan would come back and is like, back to second fiddle.
Thanks for all that hard work, Scottie. But Mike just called. So, thank you. I'm going to need you to back up a little bit. But you're right, though. 90s and even late 80s, too. The All-Star game and the dunk contest specifically.
Yeah,
that shit was just bananas. It didn't really even, you don't get anything as like other than that. Like there's no like implications like there is.
You get money.
Okay, well there you go then.
For All-Star MVP, I'm not sure, but for 3-point and the slam dunk, you do get money on top of getting a trophy.
I do like the skills. It's just like fun to watch. Like I'm sure there's an equivalent to that in the Pro Bowl a little bit, but I just know I'm like you. It's never meant anything, you know.
Especially now, dude. Like I think JJ Watt made a post about how the Pro Bowl is like 5 alternates deep because the initial guys are like, I got better shit to do, like sit on my ass.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was like this year, it's like Russell Wilson got into the Pro Bowl. It's like, for what the fuck? I kept seeing guys on my team get in. I was like, wait, what is the fucking like ramifications here? What is the like? Do you get? Is it a voting thing? It is, isn't it?
With Pro Bowl, I'm not sure. I know with NBA it's voting, but with Pro Bowl, like and it's becoming more common, man. Like the first 4 guys pass it up. So let's give it to Matt Hasselbeck.
Yeah, right. Andy Dalton, he's in the Pro Bowl. Big Red.
So who
Fitzmagic, bring him out of time. Fitzmagic's in the Pro Bowl. Screw it. We need somebody.
Yeah, Magic Johnson's in the Pro Bowl. In 1996, Tupac would release his double album, All Eyes on Me, and this is, I mean, to a lot of people, this is the greatest double album in hip hop history. I can attest that it's one of the greatest. I'm a Wu-Tang Forever guy. That'll always be my favorite double album. But All Eyes on Me is one of the greatest double albums in music history.
Played this ad nauseum in the Chrysler Concorde, Steve. Just troll in Perrysburg, just bumping this.
The world,
California, dude.
California love. I mean, Ambitious of a Rider. It's not even skippable. There's 27 tracks, and I mean, it's got the one with Snoop Dogg. Two of America's Most Wanted, ain't none but a gangsta bunny.
There's a good fuck song on this too. I forget what it is. I need to go through this again. I haven't really listened to this in a long time.
How Do You Want It with Casey and JoJo?
That one.
Got my mind made up.
How do you feel?
I ain't mad at you. And I mean, Got My Mind Made Up. That's got Daz, Corrupt, Redman, and Method Man. Method Man is one of the rare people, one of the few people who can say he had a track with Tupac and Biggie.
That's dope. Yeah, but this was everything, dude. I don't like double discs most of the time. There's a lot of bullshit double discs, but this Nate Dogg's double disc, G-Funk Classics, Notorious B.I.G.'s double disc was dope. Maybe there's a lot of good double discs. I'm just talking out of my ass, but dude, Tupac, dude, this was my Pac album, Steve. I know there's other ones that purists love more than this, but this was the one that I dig into.
I think that's popular opinion. My favorite of Pac was the one before that, Me Against the World. But this one, like I said, man, it's not skip heavy. I Ain't Mad at You, Can't See Me, Wonder Why They Call You Bitch. You wonder why they call you bitch. I bet you. Just, man, like, RIP to this legend, man. Like, the world was chomping at the bits. Couldn't wait for him to come out and drop some new shit. I remember the MTV, I think they did an episode on him doing the California Love video.
Yes. Hell yeah. The behind the scenes thing.
Behind the scenes with Roger Troutman. RIP to that legend too, man.
I always wanted to figure out that Roger Troutman, that robot thing he had in his mouth thing, that little keyboard synthesizer shit where you blow into it.
And shit. Yeah.
I need that in my life, Steve. That makes a lot of cool shit.
But man, yeah, I can't say enough about this album, man. And did you know that double album, they count them separately? Like if you go platinum, like you're kind of like double platinum.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
It's like, how do they do that? Do they separate? Like you can go platinum on the first disc. That's crazy. That's crazy though. Hey, I mean, fuck it. If you get platinum, you deserve no matter what. That's hard to do, but shit.
Yeah.
Having a double disc, you're like, shit, double that money, motherfucker.
On that same day in 96, Fugees would release The Score, and this is the one that sent them through the roof. Strumming my pain with his fingers.
Ready or not, here I come. That song was my favorite song off that album. That video was tight too. The beat, everything about that shit. I had this in like full rotation when it came out. I think I got this from Columbia House, actually.
I was just going to say that. I feel like this was a popular one with Columbia House. It's like, damn, I can get all of this. I got to add this for my 1 cent buy.
Yeah, right. Let me just go weird with it. Maybe I'll get the Forrest Gump double disc soundtrack. Listen to some oldies, Fugees. Throw a little 311 in there too. Why not? Fuck it.
But yeah, this predates Miseducation Lauryn Hill, but this album, The Score, is what made her a star, man. Of course, the ooh la 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 is the way that we are when we're doing our thing. Actually, all three of them became stars off of this. Yeah. Lauryn Hill, Prize, and Wyclef, man, because Wyclef, he would release his album the following year, and Prize, Ghetto Superstar, he would drop his a couple years after that, man. So shout out to the Fugees. Like, I think when people say, "Oh, I'm a Fugees fan," you're probably just a fan of The Score. Because
for real, I feel I can't say I'm a Fugees fan, but this album is dope as fuck, for real. You know.
1998, The Borrowers premieres in theaters. A secret family of 4-inch people living inside the walls of a house must save their home from an evil real estate developer. Directed by Peter Hewitt, starring John Goodman, Jim Broadbent, Mark Williams, Hugh Laurie, Bradley Pierce, and Tom Felton. Mama, there goes that man again. What? John Goodman is everywhere in the 90s, bro. I'm telling you.
How is this movie, Steve? Because I know you watched this.
It wasn't bad, man. I think it takes copious amounts of marijuana to fully appreciate it. But damn, John Goodman, he is adamant about killing these little people so he can sell this house. I feel like he kind of carries the movie. I tuned in and out throughout this, man, doing other shit. But it's worth a watch.
It just sounded so weird in description where I was like, I don't know. Maybe I missed John Goodman being in it. This was that time. Remember he made that movie Matinee too? That was kind of a wacky, like, I don't know if it was necessarily a horror movie, but it was like he owned like a movie theater and like crazy shit happened in it. He would make these like weird, I don't even know if it's a comedy, but like is this a dark comedy like this Borrowers movie?
I would say dark comedy. It's got some comedic elements, but it's more in the vein of Mouse Hunt.
It sounded like that. That's weird because I was thinking Mouse Hunt with 4-inch people instead of a mouse.
He just wouldn't let these little people live. Like, damn, John Goodman, like
they're living in the walls, my dude. They're keeping out of sight.
It's bad enough they little people. Like,
also they're little 4-inch people or whatever. Like that seems to like you can capture them and make some money off that. I feel like
put them in a cage.
Fuck it, dude. Like,
create an exhibition. Step right up and see the 4-inch people.
Get a little bike, fucking get a little controlled car, have him fuck around with it, it's some fun,
Look at him eating his little sandwich. But on that same day in 98, Sphere premieres. A spaceship is discovered under 300 years worth of coral growth at the bottom of the ocean. Directed by Barry Levinson, starring Dustin Hoffman, Sharon Stone, Samuel L. Jackson, Peter Coyote, Liev Schreiber, and Queen Latifah.
Yeah, dude. Did you watch this?
No.
Oh, this movie's good. Dude, this movie's good. This is a good movie. I'm telling you. Good psychological thriller.
I will one day. Because one of my bucket list items is to start from the beginning and watch every Samuel L. Jackson movie. And that's going to be a lifelong process.
Yeah, good luck. I mean, but hell yeah.
He is my GOAT. And I feel guilty that I didn't watch it over the week because he's my GOAT. And even though it's science fiction, my GOAT is in it. And it's got Dustin Hoffman,
who's great in it too. Like this is a great movie. Like I don't really give a fuck about Dustin Hoffman very much, but this movie,
really? Especially
when I was younger, I was like, hell yeah, like this guy's cool. Dustin Hoffman's dope, but I'm just saying like as a kid, yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's a good one. Like the story, and it's underwater. So like they're in like this underwater base this whole time that they're like sort of quarantined in to do all this research. And when they're going through it, they find like this big liquid sphere that's just there. It's like unexplainable. You can't get into it. It's just there and they can't really figure it out. And then they get a message and they think it's from, I feel like the ship or the sphere, they think it's from somebody else. And it's very strange. But then they realize that Dustin Hoffman's character actually went into the sphere, in some way, and he came back out of it. So this movie goes on, and it's like basically when you go into this thing, you get the power to manifest like what you dream as reality. So like all these people, like Dustin Hoffman's the first one to go through, and like he's afraid of snakes. So like at some point he's dreaming, he's asleep, and snakes attack Sharon Stone's character. There's a terrifying thing where Queen Latifah is actually how she dies in the movie, spoiler alert, but she's like out in the ocean doing something, and Dustin Hoffman's afraid of jellyfish. She gets swarmed by like thousands of jellyfish and just dies underwater. Like it's scary, dude. And it's like a lot of good acting. Liev Schreiber's in it. Everyone's questioning who went into the sphere. It becomes like, oh, did you do it? Are you causing this? And they all collectively realize that they all went into the sphere. So like the movie ends, a bunch of crazy shit happens. They actually get up to the top, like to the surface, and they have to decompress like in a chamber so that they can, it's kind of what happens. Like if you go deep into the ocean, you have to do this. They all realize it. And I think in the end of the movie, they make themselves forget that they like about the sphere. So it stops like the curse basically. So they can stop it from manifesting dreams and fucking the world up. It's like something like that. It's a very hard movie to explain, but well worth a watch.
Sound like they were on the Crane train.
I mean, they definitely are, dude. They manifest. It's The Secret, basically, except evil. Like they put a vision board up, but instead of a house, they manifest like a demon snake that's killing people and stuff. But when you get to this, you'll like it. It's worth it. Yeah. I think this was a Michael Crichton story. Like the guy that wrote Jurassic Park novels, and like
Okay.
he's a pretty famous author. I'm pretty sure that he's like wrote the original story of this, but this gets I'll give this a 7.75 out of 10. Like it's not a perfect movie, but it's definitely it's enjoyable. It's
A
freaky.
7 is worth a watch.
It's
And,
freaky too if you're afraid of the ocean and shit. For real, it's one of those where you're like holding your breath a lot. You know.
Samuel, he actually worked on this film during the week, and then on the weekends he worked on Jackie Brown. Like that's
Hell yeah, dude! I love that.
like there's so many reasons why he's the GOAT. To be able to do Ordell Roby and then do another film, a full film where you're one of the main stars, like on the side. And I'm sure that's not the only time he's done that, because the man is in like 11 movies. Like,
yeah, especially after Jackie Brown, when he was doing all those crazy like action, like Formula 51 and shit, where he's wearing like a fucking kilt.
not a dress, a kill. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
But have you noticed we've been talking about Lee Schreiber often lately, man? Like when that man, once he got on, he didn't skip a beat.
I mean, he's still working, but yeah, dude, that guy, he for real. I mean, he's a good actor. You know, he plays a good part. He plays a good psycho for real too. You know, now he's just kind of like the tough old dude. But there was a while where he was kind of playing those weird parts. He's obviously, but in this, it's fun because everyone eventually is playing a villain at a certain point, because everyone's like, you're suspecting everybody. Everybody's acting kind of weird. Samuel L. Jackson's acting fucking weird as fuck.
Yeah.
You know, so hell yeah. But yeah, Liev Schreiber for sure. He was like late 90s, like 95 to 2000. I mean, he was making a lot of money.
Yeah, once he hit his stride, he never looked back. But also in 98, The Wedding Singer premieres. Robbie, a singer, and Julia, a waitress, are both engaged, but to the wrong people. Fortune intervenes to help them discover each other. Directed by Frank Karachi, starring Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore, Christine Taylor, Frank Severo, Matthew Glave, Alan Cover, Alexis Arquette, and Steve Buscemi.
All I know is that to me, you look like you're lots of fun. Open up them loving arms. I want someone. I mean, this movie is filled with good 80s music, Steve. You get everything you want in a Sandler comedy. You even get those like funny soundbite comedy moments where like when Alexis Arquette just keeps singing, "Do you really want to?" And they're just like, "You suck!" Like that shit. But I just love this movie, dude. I got laid to this movie. This was like one of those movies that was like on in the background when like a lot of my early like romantic side was coming out, Steve. So credit to Sandman for that. But it's just one of those like I said, he had a locked in formula for his movies. And I don't know, this one just is like hard. It's stupid. It's like a good, fun, just sweet guy romantic comedy that I feel like is good for everybody. The girls get something they want, but then you get this like fun little Sandler comedy, you know, with a bunch. It's got a lot. The Rapping Granny, Italian guy, he's hilarious. Linda, you're a bitch. I mean, there's just a quick moment in this too. Whenever like there's a montage where he's helping Drew Barrymore's character like go wedding shopping and stuff and like get all this stuff done, and they're tasting cakes, and it's a simple like everyone's feeding cake to the person behind them, but like there's some lady like taps Adam Sandler on the shoulder, and it's just a lady like with yellow teeth. She looks like a lunatic, and I spit my drink out watching it last night, Steve. So it's still doing that to me at this like as a 41-year-old man. So shout out.
Marry you? I'm just trying to get someone to play with your ding dong.
Oh man, he's losing his mind, and I'm reaping the benefits.
Did you know Rapping Granny was actually going to go to Betty White? She was considered for the role.
You could see it, and I'm sure that would have been great too. But I love Rapping Granny in this. She's so sweet.
She did her thing, man, and that lady lived to be 101 years old, man. Shout out to her.
Hell yeah, she's funny. Billy Idol is hilarious in this at the end.
No one talks to Billy Idol like that.
Glenn doesn't deserve her. He just thinks of her as a possession.
Oh,
hey, man, it's all good, but yeah, and also Steve Buscemi's character, self-taught, no lessons, pop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, I might have put this too low because this is a movie I'll go back to. I've seen Happy Gilmore and like Billy Madison so much, I almost don't watch them very much.
Yeah.
But anytime this shows up, I always end up watching it. I just, for some reason, maybe it is the thing where I saw a boobie for like the first time watching this movie, Steve. So maybe it's a sentimental thing.
There were titties in this? Where?
No, I was seeing a boobie in real life.
In real time. Oh, gotcha.
IRL, Steve, an IRL titty, you know.
Any callbacks, honorable mentions, or takeaways?
Shout out to that titty I saw when I was watching Wedding Singer. Callbacks. You know what, Steve? I wanted to just throw you just a trivia card because I didn't have a lot of time to prepare any sort of funny quip or find some fun baseball cards for you.
If I win, $5 million. If I
Okay.
lose, eternity in hell.
Let's. Okay. Oh, no, I'm not giving you that one. Okay. I don't know, Steve. I'm going to just say this to you, and, you know, the stakes aren't as high as what you just said. I don't want to put that out there.
All
In
right.
what year was the European Union founded?
European Union?
Yeah.
My answer is who gives a fuck? No, 1998.
Oh, 93. I mean, you had 10
Fuck.
years. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'll give you one more, and you got this. Which singer had a hit with Livin' La Vida Loca?
Oh, pretty boy Ricky Fontaine. Ricky Martin.
Yeah. Pretty Ricky, what they called him.
Yeah.
So you're 1 for 2, Steve. Not 5 mil, but you're not going to hell.
That helps. Thank
There
you.
you go. How about you? What are any lesions or sores?
Well, in 1994, on Black Love Day, Living Single was airing Mystery Date with a guest appearance from Morris Chestnut, and he's like the new upstairs neighbor, and all the ladies are swooning over him. So this is a part 2 episode, and the callers, us the viewers, we had the option of who he should take out on the date, and apparently everyone voted for Queen Latifah, Khadijah, the star of the show. And I don't think we ever see Morris Chestnut ever again in this. But also in 94 on Black Love Day, Martin, he proposes the right way with a cameo from Brian McKnight singing some little love song, whatever. And so there's that's one of those touching Martin moments on a show that wasn't so serious. 95, the nanny's airing lamb chops on the menu, and Sherry Lois and lamb chops show up. I'm a puppet Muppet nerd, so don't judge me. And in 96, Moesha's airing Hakeem Owes Moesha Big. That has a cameo from Bo Jackson. Should have been a Hall of Famer. And Equalizer in 98, Sabrina's airing the Equalizer, and that has a cameo from PTO, our buddy, our new BFF. Patrick Thomas O'Brien, he plays Cupid, and I guess this was a recurring thing where he plays Cupid. He's wearing like some boxers with hearts on them. So yeah, shout out to
our
boy.
PTO, dude.
We love when PTO
Come back.
gets some work. Hell yeah, man. But please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please tell your sister she wonder why we call her bitch. She wonder why we call her bitch. I bet she. Check out Food Show Fanatics as well as Crushgasm and our guy Clark the Shark on podcast. Who this is Steve G and Mad G. But
Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the flat kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!
Have been in the 90s. Yeah.